Hello, everyone on YouTube. What's going on, everyone? And I just wanted to talk about antinatalism. I think a lot of the antinatalists have the wrong idea about me. Like I'm some evil guy, or maybe that I have some evil grudge, or that I hate antinatalists, but I don't. I don't hate anyone. I don't even hate that vegan teacher. You know, I might not agree with that vegan teacher, but I don't hate her. Much like other antinatalists, I don't hate them just because I don't agree with them. And to be honest, we're not that different, really. We all believe that emotions exist. There is happiness and there is sadness and there is anger and all those other emotions out there. And for the fact that they exist, people will experience them. It's going to happen with everyone. There's not a person on this planet that has never experienced any kind of sadness. There's not a person that's never experienced any kind of happiness. Everyone has experienced something. And they've experienced all of those emotions, to be honest, even if for a short time. But they're going to experience a lot of that throughout their life, anyways. I'm just saying. Worst case scenario, let's just say, even if they only experience it for short times in their life, certain, emotions. Let's just say sadness. There might be a person that experiences it a lot less, and someone that might experience it more, or happiness, or anger, you know. Or anxiety. A lot of people experience anxiety. But let's just say, that a lot of antinatalists believe that no matter what, it's a gamble, which they do. They believe it's a gamble to have a child born into this world. If you bring a child into this world, it's a gamble. For them, that's what they believe, because you are gambling their life. To be honest, if it was a gamble, it would be 50-50. 50% of the people are not unhappy on this planet. You know why? Because the majority of people are happy. Yes, there are people that experience depression and all that. The reason why I know this, because the majority of people are not in psychiatric wards. The majority of people are not in rehab. I'm just showing you. If the majority of the world was depressed, wouldn't they be all getting help, every one of these people? I mean, no one in my family right now is seeking therapy or anything, at least not anyone that lives with me. Maybe, you know, other relatives in other states, maybe one or two. But most of the family I know, they're not seeking therapy. Now, at one time I did, for a short time. I was seeking a bit of therapy, and to be honest, he was more of a friend than a therapist. We talked, and to be honest, we just talked about life. It was a good medicine. And eventually, when I moved, I didn't, that was deemed the therapy for me. After I moved out here in Georgia. But that's the only time in my life I even, that I ever went to therapy. And to be honest, I think that was a big thing, was talking about things, that really helped. Most of the stuff we talked to was a bit of chit chat, but I think that's how a lot of therapists work, is they talk to you like a friend, but a lot of them take it more like they want to see you more as a friend than it just being a job. And that's the experience I got, is it was more of a friend than he was someone trying to help me, and that's what made me feel more comfortable. The first therapist that I had, yeah, it didn't go well. She was really brutal about everything, and she talked most of the time, so I really didn't get to say a whole lot. Most of it was about her and her life. And I did. I got upset about that. I told her how I felt that she never let me talk. And eventually, I believe she did get fired. Um, but she was just mean about stuff. She gave me bad information. Then after that, they gave me a different therapist, which the person after that was a guy. And he was a great therapist. Like I said, he was more like a friend. And he wanted to truly, talk to me and help me out. And to be honest, my biggest thing was anxiety. Now, I suffered anxiety throughout life, but the panic disorder that I suffered when I was younger, I don't suffer a panic disorder anymore. The worst is over. Now in life, it's rare. Every now and then I might get a little bit of anxiety and then it goes away. I don't suffer long-term panic attacks or anything like that anymore like I used to. I used to suffer it. To be honest, I had a panic disorder that lasted 5.5 months, every day, nonstop anxiety attacks. It was bad, but that was a short time. And after that, everything was fine. So when I talk to antinatalists, I want them to understand, I've gone through anxiety, but that's not suffering. I don't consider that or depression suffering. You can suffer mentally if it's abuse. If you're just thinking of nothing, making yourself depressed, then it's not abuse. It's abuse if another person acts upon it. And then it can become suffering. To me, if you're going to call something suffering, it would be some kind of form of abuse or pain or like physical pain. People that are dying and there is no relief and they end up dying from long period of pain nonstop. Okay, that is suffering. But, you know, most people, can you really call it suffering? You mean, yes, you can be depressed, but it's just like disliking someone is not the same as hating. And I think people confuse suffering with depression. Suffering is beyond depression. Suffering, it's when it gets so uncontrollable that you've completely lost who you are, and it gets that bad to the point that usually that ends in a horrible way. But yeah, I mean, I try to put positivity, well, push positivity in people's life, because that way it's not going to be as bad and it could help. Some people, they don't want positivity. That's their fault. They don't want it. They don't want to be around it. Don't talk positive to me, they'll say, or, you know, there's nothing good in this world. Okay, those are downers. Okay, fine. You don't want help. I tried. I tried to be a friend. You don't want that. That's your fault. You made those choices. I tried to be a friend. You pushed me away. That's not suffering. How can you call that suffering? I'm just trying to say, I've gone through some stuff, but the majority, it was good. The majority is happiness, guys. Even if you're in a tough situation, if you're happy, or you can find something that makes you happy, you are not suffering. Life is still worth it, guys. You know, think of it. You know, just think. Are you happy or are you suffering? You're not suffering. So, yeah, you might be a little depressed, but you're not suffering. No. Those going through abuse, I feel for you guys. You're suffering. People pushing abuse on you in a situation. But when you get out of those situations, you're no longer suffering. Suffering to me is like a lifelong experience that doesn't end. But anything you can get out of, can you really call that suffering? Okay, so you got out of a situation. But did you get out of a suffering? Yes, scenarios of suffering. You suffered for a temporary experience. But to say that, oh, I'm suffering in life, that's a bit too much. Yeah, you got a leg chopped off or whatever, an arm chopped off, and you're in excruciating pain. Yeah, that's temporary suffering. That's not long-term term suffering. Now, living life, you can still use one arm. If you have no arms and no legs, yeah, you're suffering, you know. And I feel bad for those people, but I'm just saying, you know, I'm trying to look at things, in a better light, and helping those people to understand, in a better light. There's always more happiness than sadness that will be in most lives. And to say that the majority of people are depressed, you know what? Looking at everyone around me, they're not depressed. If you're going to say the majority of people are depressed, you need to back it up. Show me proof. Because living around everyone here, they're not depressed. They might be going through, certain things every now and then, maybe, but they're definitely not depressed people. It's one out of how many people will you find a depressed person? You know, yes, everyone will experience some kind of sadness, but they won't suffer. Let's just say they won't go through suffering. Most people won't go through suffering. Loss of someone emotionally depressed, temporary suffering, maybe slight. When you lose someone, you might mentally be suffering temporarily. Like you'll feel sick, nauseous, throwing up. Yeah, temporary suffering. Maybe, you know, that's if you're going through all that and emotionally attacked, uh, feeling nauseous and everything else. But yeah, to me, to call something suffering, it's just got to be at a high extreme level, just like hate. There's a difference between disliking and hating. You don't actually hate people. You might you might dislike them or the things that you might hate the things that they do. There might be one person that someone might hate, at a level that just angers them. They delete all their numbers. They delete at that point of hate, then, okay, that's hate. When you try to delete that person out of your life, there's no forgiveness, nothing. You delete all information, contact, enough to maybe you'll change your name or just whatever. You want to kick them out of your life. You don't want to give them a chance. You don't care how sorry they are. Yeah, then you can say you hate someone. But I'm just saying. Anyways, this video's gone on a bit long. If you want more to the video, please let me know. If you guys want another part, I don't mind talking. I'm not angry. I know antinatalists are spamming the dislike button, but I don't hate them. I love you all. Guys, please stay happy.